From Lalate News headquarters in Santa Monica, this is the Midday Report on Lalate.
It's a big midday here on LA with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2021. In this recording, we'll go over that monthly stimulus check and why the Democrats are likely to give you more months of checks. Then we cut to the recon. Done deal. Congratulations, you're getting $3.5 trillion of checks. Americans will be looking forward to receiving $3.5 trillion of checks under the recon. I'll be going over some of those checks that can cover everyone from seniors to workers and you. And then we go over the vote, the bill, the dates, everything you need to know. We have a vote set and a date set. And we also have a surprise. In the final 15 of the final 14 of this video, we'll be going over details you've never heard before. A lot of breaking news. There's so much breaking news that while complex, I'll make it simple for you. With a plan B coming out of nowhere. I'll explain whether it is a plan B or it's not. And then we cut to fifth stimulus, which raise your benefits up lifetime. But as the unemployment numbers tanked this morning, is that signaling that the benefits may be modified? I'll explain all the big details. And then we cut to big money across the board that viewers continue to get, like Nisi, who got $23,000, Louie, who got $18,000, and John, who got $12,000. I'll go over all this big money about how you can get all this delicious money. It's a big noontime. It's a big day, and here we go, starting right here, right now, on Noontime. Hey, good noontime, everybody. How you doing? Hope you're having a beautiful, beautiful day. It got a little bit hot here in LA again. I don't know what happened. It was supposed to cool down today. Hopefully it cools down over the weekend. Jump in the live chat and tell me where you're tuning in from and how's the weather. So much breaking news. There is an enormous amount of breaking news in this recording. State of the final 15 for the final 14, in which I go over those final 15 minutes of a bill date set, a vote set, a bill, and more. But also a plan B. Oh boy, it's a big recording. First, we'll go over that monthly stimulus check. How much you're going to get. How many months of checks across the board those Democrats represent. Then we cut to the recon. Done and deal. You're going to get $3.5 trillion of checks under this fourth stimulus recon. A check for a lot of different things. I'll show you what those checks are for. It's for you. And then we go to that final 15 of the final 14 with the bill vote set. And this is all the incredible news you've been wondering for. But there is a backup plan. I'll explain what that backup plan is well. Then we cut to fifth stimulus, which raise your benefits up lifetime, SSI, SSDI, and VA. This was promised during the campaign trail. It's now happening. Congratulations. And then we cut to the big money across the board that viewers continue to get. $10,000, $15,000, $25,000. I'll show you how you get this big money as well. And this is LA, America's only 24-hour day, 7 days a week financial news channel in America. Live in the morning, like right now, and taped in the afternoon. Coming up next is a new show. You like that new Afternoons LA throwback show at 1 o'clock, so there's a new one. A new throwback at 1 o'clock of Afternoons LA, and then a brand new, newly taped show from today of Afternoons LA, always at 3 o'clock. Then Evenings LA at 5. Then Sirloin at 8, so subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. Fastest growing channel there is in 1 year. Next up, 1 million. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Let's cut to the breaking news starting right off the bat, which is that monthly stimulus check. Pandemic plus 1 year. Well, the pandemic ain't over. So let's look at that House bill because everything has changed. When you look at the monthly stimulus checks, you have to consider the two proposals, House and Senate. House bill provides a stimulus check for the remainder of the pandemic plus 1 year. Senate proposal provides a July check to December. Let's look at the payouts. House, $1,000 the first month, after the first month. Senate amount, unknown, but word on the street is a Senate monthly would be this. Deliciousness, $2,000 over 6 months, $12,000, or $1,400 over 6 months, $8,400. It was less than 3 weeks ago where we said maybe the pandemic's not over. 2 weeks ago where we said the pandemic is not over. Last week when we said the pandemic's certainly not over. And this week when we say the pandemic is absolutely, categorically not over. Number of Delta cases in LA County alone is absolutely out of control, astronomically surging among young adults. Florida, very bad. 50 states of 50 states showing a massive surge. The pandemic's not over. That means that the House bill, pandemic plus 1 year monthly stimulus check, would likely pay more than 12 checks. And more than 12 checks would be more than $13,000 from the House. Let's compare that to this in the Senate. I think you have an opinion. I think you have an opinion. Jump in the live chat right now and vote House or Senate. And tell me where you're tuning in from and how's the weather. Vote House or Senate right now. Well, there you go. Who gets this fourth stimulus check? Democrats represent that if you got the third stimulus check, you would get a fourth. Single individual, $75,000 or less. Democrats want you to have a fourth stimulus check. Married couple, $150,000 or less. Democrats want you to have a fourth stimulus check. Double it. Family of four, Democrats represent. They want you to have a fourth stimulus check. Quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, Social Security Railroad benefits, Democrats represent that you get a fourth stimulus check. The fourth stimulus check is not income. It's not taxable. The fourth stimulus check would be the same amount, including adult dependents. Congratulations. And then the fourth stimulus check would come monthly. It would not come in waves. But on Sunday, I fell for it. Oh, boy, did I fall for it. I was on a live feed recording on this channel. And I was on the beach, no joke. And I walking on the beach, and one viewer said, "Hey, Lalate, is that the check behind you?" I fell for it. I said, "Oh, check. Hey, how are you?" I waved to the check, and then the check didn't wave back. I said, "Rude check." And the viewer said, "No, Lalate, it's not a rude check. It's just not a waveable check. I've watched your shows." I hate when that happens. The fourth stimulus check will likely come in the month of July. For the month of July, those Democrats represent in the month of August, for the month of August. But in the second part of this video, we're going to go to the deal. Done. Deal. You're getting checks, a fortune of them, $3.5 trillion of checks, in addition to the issue of stimulus checks. $3.5 trillion of checks are coming to the American people as the recon has been done. Deal done. As to price tag, they've agreed upon the price tag and they've agreed upon passing it. $3.5 trillion of checks coming to you. I'll be going over some of those checks in a second. In the third part of this video is absolutely the biggest and most enormous breaking news day of Final 15 to Final 14 ever on this channel. You're going to see a jam-packed Final 15 where you're just going to have to absolutely sit back, just relax, and let all this information come in because it's a lot. I'm going to try to make it easy because I know it's complicated. I'm going to try to make it simple. It's a lot of stuff. And if you have not seen the breaking news, you're going to say, what? Yeah. And then we cut to fifth stimulus. Here's a preview of the second half of this video. Fifth stimulus raises up your benefits as promised during the campaign trail. But what about that unemployment number this morning? It was horrible. I'll analyze the analytics for you in that part of the video. But first, let's get some money, and you are killing it. Oh my God, I'm so excited for you. I have been recording videos where I said $5,000 for rent, and now you're getting a lot more. If you got on rent from this channel, post in the live chat right now. Utilities, post it. If you got on Snap, post in the live chat right now. What's going on? I had recorded videos where I said I can get you $5,000 of rent. Viewers like Nisi are getting $20,000 of rent from my videos. I had recorded videos where I said I can get you $300 for utilities. Viewers daily, even yesterday, several viewers said they got $3,000 of utilities. I've been recording videos where I say I can get you $5,000 to $6,000 a snap. Well, John got $10,000 to $12,000. Congratulations, my friend. And then Louis yesterday shocked us with $18,000 a snap. Oh my goodness, what's going on? This is what this channel does. We cash checks. This is a channel about cashing checks, not about tracking checks. When second stimulus happened, there was supposed to be an EIDL loan check, an EIDL grant check. It didn't come. So there's no check to track, but I got $25 million of EIDL loans approved, and there were caches of checks to cash. And then in fall of 2020, we were waiting for second stimulus checks to come, but it was not law yet. So there was no check to track, but I got viewers checks to cash. $250,000 of them for rent, like Tyrone, who got $15,000 for his family of four out of Boston. A lot of money for rent. And now we're doing again. The only difference is you. Your numbers have been astronomical. Get a pen and paper ready. It's your turn to get this big money right now. We're going to get some rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and also homeowners utilities. Each place has different eligibility. So if you reach out to one, it says, no, don't worry, reach out to the next. I'm going to show you different places. So get that pen and paper ready. And if it must be a Crayola crown, it's not muddled, or Casey anything. Sorry, Canute. So here we go. The keywords you say that viewers indicate to me are critical. So they say, watch those keywords. They say it really helps in getting approved. You're going to reach out to your city hall, your city housing authority, your state hall, your state housing authority, your county hall, your county housing authority. Keywords you can say are rent assistance because of COVID. Rent assistance because of COVID. You're not going to say words they don't know, like stimulus, or the range of color options at the Teal Monsters home. It's just teal. They don't know that. They don't want to know that. So there you go. Congratulations to Tim and Linda who got this wonderful pot of money for rent. If you got it as well, jump in the live chat. And if you got utilities, jump in the live chat and post it as well. The next pot of money is Snap. Yes, Louis, $18,000. John, $10,000 to $12,000. Oh my goodness, congratulations. What is SNAP? It is money for food. How do you get it? Department of Agriculture. Eligibility is about the same as a stimulus check, if not easier. How much does it pay? A fortune. A family of four in Hawaii now gets upwards of $16,000 a year. Wow. Why so much money? Because of two executive orders, one from Biden, one from Trump, that raise your benefits up 15%. So go get it. And there you go. Lynn Glenn got it for herself, her son, and her mom. Gail got it as well. And if you got Snap, post in the live chat right now. The next part of the money is incredible. And we're only 11 minutes into this video. We've gotten $15,000, $16,000 for Snap, $5,000 for rent. Here we go. Next one is the refund check back for your state due to overpayment of unemployment benefits and a computer error. One viewer got $3,000, another viewer got $5,000. It could be your day as well. Where's it landing? Direct deposit. Can you track it? Yeah, contact your state and say, hey, state, can you track that check due to computer error? And track it with a computer that actually works. And the last spot of the money is the refund check back from IRS. Margaret got it, Cod got it, Michael got it, and it's your chance to get it as well. We have an update about this from IRS. IRS reports to us that there's another wave of checks that went out today, these refund checks, this week. The refund checks, the average amount is $1,265. Direct deposit started July 14th. Paper checks started July 16th. And there'll be a new wave of checks every week from IRS. So if you're at the beach and you see the IRS, no, we're not going to do that. So now, if you've gotten rent, utilities, internet, Snap, any of these things, post in the live chat. Why is that important? Because you're helping other people three different ways. Number one, if they see all these people posting their success stories, then they realize, I should go get it. $15,000, I want $15,000. They realize they can go get it. Number two, if they see someone posting 3 items, then they realize, wait a second, I only got 1. Let me get some other ones. Art Sullivan got 3 items from this channel. And so if you only got 1, use Art Sullivan as your inspiration to get 2 more. And then the wonderful thing is, finally, it updates us about numbers. Because when we're talking about $5,000 for Snap, and suddenly we see someone with $18,000, we say, OMG. When is this refund check coming back from IRS? This month. Where? Direct deposit, otherwise in the mail. How much? Let's say you have $9,000 of total unemployment benefits. You paid $5,000 of taxes, of which $4,000 was your taxes on unemployment benefits. Congratulations, you get back $4,000. Can you track it? Yeah. Go to irs.gov and do a transcript search. 70% of the time it'll work. It'll reveal stuff you never knew, like it'll reveal the tax return you filed, the taxes you paid. Then it'll reveal stuff you never knew, nor perhaps ever wanted to know. It'll reveal when Mitch was on Star Search and he did that song in tribute to Chuck, was it Slave to You by Britney? And finally, it'll reveal the refund check that's coming back to you. Can we top that? We can. As we go into the second part of your Fourth Stimulus update today. Done deal. Congratulations, you're getting $3.5 trillion of checks. The recon has been done. As for price tag and agreement on passage, the Democrats have met and have agreed upon the price, $3.5 trillion of checks for you, and they've agreed to pass it. There you go. Wow, now that's wonderful. How did we get to this spot? Originally, the recon was this behemoth before July 4th that had roads and bridges in there, and it was not passable. So they had to take the roads and bridges out and shrink it to make it passable. And now it is passable. Remember these hand gestures, because ironically, I'm going to be bringing them up later in this video. Oh boy. Yeah, it's coming. Well, once they shrunk that recon by taking roads and bridges out, it became passable. We had that confirmation from conservative publication op-ed that said the higher the price tag was on the recon before, the harder it was to pass. Obviously, confirmation, there we go. But by allowing the Democrats to take out some of the spending from the recon and put it in the bipartisan roads and bridges, the overall price tag of the recon got smaller, obviously. In other words, the bipartisan deal made the recon passable. There you go. Sorry to set you up, Mitch. Well, he doesn't feel set up because suddenly the Republicans love the bipartisan. They want to pass it. Once that recon was shrunk, the progressives were able to add a little bit more money back in and get the price tag they want. Deal done. $3.5 trillion of checks are coming to you. And the progressives are ecstatic. Before that passage, Ilhan Omar, Democrat of Minnesota, said, we will get a recon that goes as far as we want it. You did. Congratulations, Elon. $3.5 trillion for you. And then Representative Richie Torres, Democrat in New York, said we have to have a larger recon. You got it, Torres. Congratulations, Richie. $3.5 trillion. And then finally, the Progressive Caucus was meeting with the White House daily to ensure that recon went big enough. They got it. $3.5 trillion. How do we get to the spot? By protecting the recon, because the White House had told the progressives that the policies, the $3.5 trillion of checks, are all progressive priorities. Schatz, Brian, Democrat Hawaii, and Jalapal confirmed it. Schatz said the White House considers the progressive priorities in the recon its own priorities. Wow. So let's go over what a recon is, what it does, how it gets written, how it gets passed, and what its other names are. You hear on this channel just two words, recon and bipartisan. But if you turn somewhere else like broadcast media, they'll use other words to describe these two paths. So I want you to know the other words. In case you hear them, you won't get confused which one you're listening to. So recon, your money, also has the name reconciliation. It's short for reconciliation. It's also called the budget bill. Price tag, you recognize it by, if it's covered in an article, $3.5 trillion. You'll recognize it by the senators quoted in the article, like a Bernie Sanders. Bipartisan, also called infrastructure, roads and bridges, not your money. You'll recognize it by the people quoted in the article, like a Kristen Sinema or a Mitt Romney. Price tag, $1.5 trillion. All right, what is a recon? How do they do it and how do they get it finished? A recon stands for reconciliation. It's a bill written by Democrats for Democrats to be passed by Democrats. The GOP has nothing to do with it. Here's a funny joke, not a joke, but a funny anecdote. Last night, Overnight's Crypto, someone jumped in the live chat, said, I called up Susan Collins to ask about my recon and ask how many stimulus checks I'm getting. She said, you're not getting anything. Susan Collins is a Republican, a very Republican. Why would you call up Why would you call up Mitch McConnell to ask about your recon? Hi, Mitch. Can you tell me how much money I'm getting my recon? You're getting nothing. You're getting not even lobster sauce. Why would you call up Susan Collins? It makes no sense. That's so weird. But that was what one viewer did. Remember, a recon is written by Democrats for Democrats. The Republicans are not involved in writing it. Let's go over who actually writes it. The House Ways and Means and other House subcommittees are responsible for writing the recon. How does it work? Under the Constitution, legislators are delegated, subcommittees of the House are delegated different subject matters. And those subject matters are in the House subcommittees. The Senate subcommittees also have some more subject matters. In this case, the House subcommittees are the lead authors of the recon, with the senators helping them on the Senate subcommittee side. House Ways and Means House Subcommittee is responsible for the subject of stimulus checks and unemployment benefits, and that's what they've done before, and that's what they're doing now. Other subcommittees have other subject matters. When they're all done, these subcommittees, let's say with 10 pages, let's say it's 10 subcommittees, they send it up to Chuck. He combines that's 100 pages. He puts a big, bold, beautiful S on it. Not for Schumer, for Senate. It's a Senate bill then. Then you see the recon. Now, before that, you don't have the recon. Mainstream media and myself agree upon one thing. We're not seeing the recon until we actually see that S on it. The Democrats are not going to show it because, like a pop singer who has an upcoming album with songs on it, they don't want you to see the songs or hear the songs until it's released. It's their prerogative. Here's what you need to know is that until that date, you're not going to see what the subcommittees are doing. They may be writing, taking things out, putting things back in, voting in favor, voting against. You're not going to know until that happens. It's important to know that we just don't have the recon unveiled to us until it's actually in bill format, which is totally different than the following incorrect statement that would potentially be said by a naysayer. I haven't heard of this in the recon thing. I haven't heard. No, you haven't heard because we don't have it. That's why you haven't heard. How do we get to this wonderful spot? From Jalapal, who had said to Schumer, call the vote on the bill, Chuck. Call the vote on the recon. The letter was signed by 12 House Democrats, part of 100 plus. You heard that right, 100 plus. Who had written the president a letter saying, we're going to do a monthly stimulus check in that fourth stimulus package. Wow. 100 of them? Yes. Can we top that? Yes. As 7 subcommittee members in the seven members of the House wrote the president a letter. Who are these? They're on the subcommittee, House Ways and Means. The same one you just went over? Yes. They wrote the president a letter saying, we are putting monthly 4 stimulus checks in the 4th stimulus package. Wow. You got to hold them to that promise, Purple Power. They're promising monthly stimulus checks in the 4th stimulus package. They're also promising 5th stimulus checks. Wow, can we top that? We can. As Biden has done it, 4 weeks ago, coming up on now 5 weeks ago, the president went overseas internationally to have an agreement signed. And that agreement was about international corporate taxes. But it was a ceremonial signature. The formal signature happened this week. It is a signature for the tongue twister of a century. Global minimum corporate tax rate minimum. Wow, that is a tongue twister. So why is this historic? Because they don't have to put it in the recon, that confusing thing. 1, easier to vote right the recon because you don't have to put that confusing thing in there. Number 2, easier to vote on the recon because you don't have to put that confusing thing in there. Easier to vote on it because you don't have to put that confusing thing in there, and easier to vote in favor of it and pass the recon because you don't have to put that confusing thing in there. Can we top that? Yes, we can. As the final 15 of the final 14 of this recording goes over an astronomical amount of breaking news. We have a vote set for the bipartisan. That means that we'll likely have a vote set for the recon. But do we also have a backup plan? And do we also have a backup of the backup plan? What? Yes, I told you there's a lot of breaking news today. And boy, it is a lot. And it may seem like it's overwhelming. I'm going to make it as easy breezy and easy for you to understand. It's coming up in the final 15 and the final 14. Plus, 5th stimulus just raised your benefits up with a shocker of unemployment numbers today. They were bad. But first, here's a little bit about the volunteers. If you have problems getting that rent, utilities, internet, or SNAP, don't worry. Reach out to the volunteers. How do you find them? Open the description of this video. In the description, you'll see an emoji of a house. Click that link. It'll send you over to the community page, news.la.com/community. The volunteers can help you get that big money. Here's a little bit about them, and I'll see you back in about 60 seconds. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LA Daily for the excitement of the new LA live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LA at 9 a.m. Home LA returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LA at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LA. And the excitement continues on Noontime LA, live from Santa Monica right now. I'm excited for you to be in this live broadcast because, trust me, there is a lot of breaking news coming up in the final 15 of the final 14. The final 15 minutes of this video go over potentially the final 14 days of the recon process. And at this point, it's potentially final 7 days. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this channel. Hit that subscribe button right now. Fastest growing channel, 400,000 in 1 year. Hit that subscribe button. Like the video, 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Coming up later today is Afternoons LA, always at 3 o'clock, and Evenings LA at 5 o'clock. Sirloin at 8. But yesterday we tried out a new replay show at 1 o'clock, Afternoons LA, about 4 stimulus. You loved it. So that will be back as well as a new replay show. But the new Afternoons LA show, of course, is at 3 o'clock. Let's cut right into 5th stimulus with some breaking news about that as well. 5th stimulus was promised to you by the president during the campaign trail. He didn't deliver it. So then suddenly the senators and the House members said, we'll take care of it. And so they're putting it in that fifth stimulus recon. That fifth stimulus recon is what's dramatically needed for the American people. And I'm going to go over all of the details of it starting right now. What's important to understand is that this stimulus will start by really picking up where the president left off. During the campaign trail, he promised this, and they're going to deliver it. First, they're going to raise your benefit limits up. Then they'll remove the asset limit, add an inflationary benchmark, remove the income exclusion, and remove the marriage penalty. Let's go over how this works right off the bat, and then we'll go to the breaking news about this as well. First, they'll raise your benefits up one big time under fifth stimulus. This is you. SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, yes, SSA or multiple beneficiaries. When is this to happen? Well, they'll likely raise it up around November because the legislation will start drafting in September and they'll be done by November, they approximate. Then they'll apply a benchmark shortly thereafter, probably in December for next year's benefits. The new benchmark? Inflation. Where is that inflation rate going? Up. How high? Your head of the Federal Reserve, Jay Powell, this last week and said the same thing he had said the week before, that it will be transitory. Transitory is a fancy word for temporary, meaning it's going to reach its peak in December. Oh boy, yes, just where they apply your benefits. This is incredible, great news. So let's go over how this calculates and how this works. When they apply that benefit lift in December, then basically you'll see your benefits raise up one big time. Then they'll apply the benchmark. And if that benchmark is 5%, as I and Wall Street is saying, then boy, your benefits will step up, not just 5% next year, but lifetime. Oh my goodness. If the inflation rate is 2% the year after that, then you're at +2, +5%. Incredible, great news. Now, you may have seen the jobless numbers this morning. Horrible. Horrible. These are jobless claims for people who have been employed for the last 2 years. They went to work every single day during the pandemic. Last year, went to work all day this year. But they showed up to work last week and were laid off. The number went through the roof. What's going on? Does that impact this number for your fifth stimulus? No, it does not. Why? Unemployment is different than inflation. Although it does impact inflation eventually, it does not impact it right away. Inflation is how much things cost to buy. Milk, eggs, gasoline. And unemployment is just a whole different universe. Also this week, we saw the 10-year Treasury note drop, which is interest rate. That's not inflation either. That's growth. So the economy could be growing, but the price of things could also be going up or going down. Your number is this. Also in the fifth stimulus, they're going to remove the asset cap dating back to a 1980s law that says you can't work and stay on benefits. It's going to go away. Now then you will be able to have more than $3,000 in hand. They're going to remove the income cap dating back to a 1960s law that says you can't work and stay on benefits. And finally, the marriage penalty is going to go away. Love is going to win, and you'll be able to marry your longtime love interest. You'll no longer fear loss of benefits, and you'll no longer be impacted by the marriage penalty. Viewers like Rob and Sandy will be able to get married and no longer worry about the marriage penalty. And there you go. Love is going to win. And finally, fifth stimulus. If you are in the live chat and you wonder, wait a second, how are all these people getting all these big sums of money? And why do they have a purple hawk next to their name? Consider becoming a member. The link's under the video where it says join. By becoming a member, you get access to all the big money. I deliver daily to you as a member all the big money that's available under third stimulus. When second stimulus passed, I said, yeah, there's a $600 stimulus check. I'll get you $6,000. I got viewers, $15,000 like Tyrone. When third stimulus passed, I said, yeah, there's a $14 stimulus check, but I'll get you $14,000. I got viewers like Nisi, $23,000, and Louis, $18,000, and John, $12,000. There you go. So consider becoming a member. The link's under the video and also the pinned comment. Let's go right into the final 15 of your final 14, starting right now with just an enormous amount of news. The next 15 minutes will be jam-packed, so sort of sit back and let it digest. It's a lot. First, we're going to go from recon, then over to bipartisan, back to recon to bipartisan, and one more time back over to recon. First, the recon. Deal done. $3.5 trillion of checks, in addition to stimulus, will be coming to you under the recon. The Democrats made that agreement just days ago. It's historic in two regards. First, that there's an agreement, and second, as the prize. First, the agreement. Tim Kaine confirms this following, that once they agree upon this, that everything is basically nearly done. All they have to do is slot prices into items. Number two, it's historic because it's a fortune. Bernie Sanders went into the meetings asking for $7 trillion, agreed upon 3.5, and came out celebrating because he said it's a historic day for you. He said he's going to be able to get the same programs paid for just in less amount of time. Ironically, 3.5 is half the amount of time as 7 trillion. So instead of 10 years perhaps on a program, then it's 5 years. Well, $3.5 trillion of recon checks. What you need to know is that you are getting, under the recon, $3.5 trillion of checks. It's just checks, and it's just for you. We will not see the recon until that big bold S is on it. Not for Schumer, but for Senate. But in a strange twist, we have some of the items leaked. And some of these items are deliciousness. They are money for seniors. They are money for workers. There's a lot of checks for a lot of people when you have $3.5 trillion of them. Checks for free school meals for all. Checks for tax breaks. Checks for cheaper prescription medication. Checks for immigration reform. Checks for farmers. Checks for elections. Checks for internet. They're going to provide you free internet by giving money to the local cities so they can run their own internet company and give it to you for free. Checks for clean energy perks. And then here come my workers and my seniors. Checks for workers. Checks for unions. Checks for collective bargaining. Checks for independent contractors. Seniors. Checks for seniors. Checks for Medicare. Checks for eligibility, checks for dental, checks for vision, and checks for hearing. Wow, congratulations. Now, let's cut over to bipartisan, roads and bridges. Last Thursday, Mitt Romney said that the deal provisions of the bipartisan are nearly complete and that he thought the vote would happen this week. Yes. To which I said, I don't know if it's getting done this week. I said next week, certainly. Well, that was what Mitt Romney said, and my comments actually were mirrored by broadcast media. They agreed it wasn't going to be this week, it's going to be next week. Well, yesterday, Chuck Schumer called a vote on the bipartisan, but what about? Not about the bill, about talking on the bill. Let's go over what Chuck called the vote on. First, I confirmed, I had told you before going into the vote, I thought it was going to fail. What happened? Chuck called the vote to end discussion and negotiations on the bipartisan shortly thereafter. It's not a vote on the bill. It's not a vote to end discussion that day. It's just a vote to end discussion shortly thereafter on the bipartisan. I said it was not going to pass. It didn't pass. But great news came from it. What was the great news? Senator Ron Portman, more about him later, delivered therein a letter to Chuck Schumer, signed by approximately 12 Senate Republicans, because Portman's a Republican, that said, we are ready to vote on the infrastructure bipartisan roads and bridges this next week. Yes. Wow. Now that's exciting. Really, really exciting. Portman and the 11 Republican senators said that the bipartisan will be ready to be voted on as a bill this coming week. Whoa, that's exciting. Why? Because cutting back to recon, remember, your recon has to go for a vote before bipartisan. The recon has to be called for a vote before bipartisan and not months before, but just sort of days before, hours before. And this is incredible great news because now the recon could be teed up for a vote. Wonderful, wonderful news. Now let's slow it down to something that's a little bit more complicated. Well, when I get my news sources and information, I look at a lot of different sources, and sometimes the sources are politically slanted. And so when they are, I have to disclose them to you because the articles may be slanted a particular way. One of them that I refer to is very, very conservative slanting. So usually an article will have everything negative about Democrats. Today, that website has an article that's slanted very anti-Republican, which doesn't make sense. So with that preface, I want to tell you what one of the articles it ran said. The article run today in that conservative publication says that the Democrats are preparing for a plan B in the event that the bipartisan is not called for a vote next week. Interesting. Now, here's the first thought about it. One, there's no confirmation of this plan B, that it's not an actual plan. Maybe it's a few people thinking about it. Number two, what is the plan B? Are you ready for this one? Just sort of sit back for me to say it. The alleged plan B by the Democrats is to put the roads and bridges back in the recon. What? Now, what is the basis of the allegations of this article? One quote from Bernie Sanders, who says maybe we can put some of those roads and bridges back into the recon. Okay, that's one of the bases of the article. The other basis of the article is that there is a series of Democrats, a few Democrats, who have recalled in the last 20 years when there was a time frame at issue and the Republicans had the ball. The Republicans intentionally ran the clock out. So the clock ran out and the Democrats got nothing. So those Democrats reportedly are very leery about Ron Portman running out the clock and not getting it done for a vote next week and then setting the Democrats up to fail. So is there any quote of that in the article? Well, there is a quote by Jolapal that says, we're not going to be delayed for our recon because of the bipartisan. So not exactly what the article, it doesn't match with the language of the article. The article and the quote don't really match. That's why I'm sort of being devil's advocate with this article. Well, here is my thought of the process. And after this, I also have an article that slightly says something different. So my thought of the process is, you've seen me cover Ron Portman and Mitt Romney on this channel for over a year. And every time I've covered Mitt Romney has done exactly what he said, exactly when he says he does it. Ron Portman, every time he has said something, it has never happened. And Ron Portman is a very different person than Mitt Romney. And if you recall who Ron Portman is, in May of last year, when people were losing their homes and losing their cars and being thrown on the street, Ron Portman said, "Get back to work, you're lazy, I'm cutting off your unemployment benefits." Yeah, that's that Ron Portman. Mitt Romney, on the other hand, is the guy that saved your second stimulus. You saw me talk about him in Toomey the last few days where things were falling apart. Mitt Romney does things very quickly, very detailed, very to the point. When he says something's going to happen, it happens. So we have that quote from Mitt Romney saying that he thinks the vote is going to happen to this week, but if not next week. And then I have Ron Portman. Am I going to trust Mitt Romney before Ron Portman? Absolutely. Absolutely. So do I believe that this plan B is happening? I don't think so. I don't think this plan B is really a plan B. I don't think there is a plan. I don't think this is a plan. Why? Because it's only been a few weeks ago since I did this thing, and I do this thing every day, where it was too big and then it's small. Why would it suddenly be fine to put roads and bridges back in if it was not fine 3 weeks ago? So what else could be the backup plan? Well, this is the article I want you to pay attention to. There's a different article in which it cites Chuck Schumer's goings-ons yesterday. It says that Chuck Schumer, this is getting very good, brought in all the Democratic senators, oh yeah, and brought in the problematic Democratic senators, you know which I'm referring to, and they allegedly agreed that they have put in all their efforts to get the bipartisan done. And if the bipartisan group does not want to get it for a vote next week, then we're fine to call the vote on the recon, even if the bipartisan is not ready. Yes! That's what I want to hear. That is what I want to hear. Call the vote on the recon. If the bipartisan is not ready, tough luck. We have given you enough chances. So apparently, Chuck has done a very good job in courting all Democrats to say, we can't wait around for these Republicans indefinitely. There's a long history of Republicans not getting things done so that Democrats don't get anything. And apparently the tensions have grown enough that even the most problematic Democrats have now said, yeah, just call the vote on the recon. So 7 days away. I mean, it's getting really tight. Next, on Early Mornings LA, there was a comment under the video by one viewer who said the following. The viewer said, "I can't wait to see them call the vote on the recon to see what's in there for me." That sort of is not accurate. And I think I've made that video enough, but I want to go over that again. We have 12 voting steps, but let me just do the recon to make it even easier. The recon has lots of voting steps, and at any step of the recon, they can modify stuff. So the day in which you see that recon bill with that S on it, not for Schumer, but for Senate, it may have stuff right, it may have stuff wrong. Understand, there's a lot of steps to the finish line where they modify stuff. And in fact, the House Democrats talked about that yesterday. They said, this is exact words, I'm not a cheap date. Meaning, if I want to change things, I will change things. And trust me, they will change things if they want to change things. Where is it likely to start? Senate, or Senate subcommittee, then Senate floor, then House, and likely to go back to the Senate for a vote-a-rama. So you have 4 steps there where things can get modified. There's a lot of steps, so along the way you have to push. And with that, I hope this was enough to digest, because it's a lot. It's a lot for me to remember as well. The things are changing by the minute. For now, I really ask you to stay in tune. If I was watching anything, I would really zone out anything from Ron Portman and really zone in anything for Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney will give us the biggest indicator of what's going on with the bipartisan. Jalopal has been speaking a lot in the last 24 hours about this as well, because she is ready to get that recon for a vote ASAP. Literally like in the next 7 days. And with that, I have a new show added to the mix, and 1 o'clock throwback show on Afternoons LA before the new Afternoons LA at 3 o'clock. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video. 3,000 likes. Every like help, and consider becoming a member. Stay informed, stay focused. Have a beautiful noontime, and I'll see you next on Afternoons LA's new show at 1, and then the new Afternoons show recorded minutes ago for 3 o'clock. Stay informed, stay focused, and stay with LA for more.